often we want to be happy. So we want to be happy because we feel miserable. We are suffering, so we want happiness. The situation is that if you are suffering and you want happiness, the only way that you will get what you want is by looking at the suffering very carefully. Not at the suffering itself, but at the source of your suffering, which is a little bit deeper. And that's the way that you will understand that the source of your suffering, it's 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 an illusion. And therefore you don't find happiness, but you realize that it is this confusion that was preventing you to feel the happiness that was already available to you all along. So the way you solve a problem is 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 to go deeper or higher, depending of what symbolism it's calling you, to a level where there is the solution. And from the solution perspective, there is no problem. So problems are not there to be solved. The problems are there to show us our lack of sensitivity. So they are an invitation to be more sensitive, to go in a way more deeper in our understanding, more deeper in our exploration of what is here, of experience itself. So if you have any question about this or any sharing about this topic, you are welcome to speak up.
I'll speak up.
Yeah.
Thank you, David. So you mentioned briefly that there are kind of these two modes, and one of them you said was, this feeling that, or this belief that, the present moment, this present experience is like not good enough. There's something wrong with it. And the other way is, to say that this present moment is perfect and no problems. I don't know. I guess kind of what I wanted to explore that a little bit further, with my own current experience being very much the first one. This feeling that there's something wrong with my present experience. Like there's something that's not good enough about it. And primarily what I'm saying when I have this belief is that there's something wrong with me. There's something about me. I'm not sensitive enough. I'm not, I don't see this, I don't know, but like that's been very much in my experience, and you touched on it kind of briefly, but I was just wondering if we could explore that particular topic a little bit further.
Mhm. The sense that I'm not good enough, you can there is two ways you can approach this. The first one is when you say I, what are you referring to? What is this I that you're referring to? That's the first one. The other one is where is the reference point from which you are able to judge yourself? Those are the two doors that you can start your exploration. At the end, they're the same. Or you explore the I, the subject, or you explore the object, which is the reference point from which you judge yourself. But of course they are both one and the same, but they are different reflection of one confusion.
Yeah. And so it's interesting. Like I've heard you mention these things before. Um, and as far as like the reference point route, I guess I would say there really isn't there really isn't one. I mean, there's a all the feeling is
Interesting.
like yeah, it's not good enough. And I guess looking for the reference point would be asking, like, well, what would be good enough? And, there's no real answer to that. It's still just
Mm,
it's just a feeling of like, but what I have is not good enough. And, um, hmm, I don't know. So there's kind of that root. And I recognize, okay, I kind of understand what you're saying in that this feeling, this belief that things are not good enough, like I recognize that that is a thought. That's a thought that I'm believing, you know?
mhm,
Um, but it doesn't really have any impact on what's happening right now, you know?
mhm,
And then and that naturally leads to the other question, which is, well, like who's even making this judgment? Who's receiving this judgment? And that's an open question, right? Like that's a question that doesn't really, for me at least, like there's no solid answer to that. Whatever is perceiving this thought that what's happening right now is not good enough is, I don't know. It's just I guess the closest approximation is like awareness, this field of receptivity, the subject basically. But I couldn't tell you more specifically what the subject is. I mean, the closest real approximation is like it's me, it's myself. But at the same time, that gets tricky because like what is a self? It's something that I can't really define for you. Um,
mhm.
and so I don't know. Uh, I guess even understanding those things, this feeling of not good enough being just the thought, and kind of having my own examination of who is it that's like having this thought or believing this thought. I, I don't know. Like that, what I'm communicating to you, I guess, is kind of my, what my understanding of the situation is. But, even having said all of this, it's like that feeling still comes back to visit me often. And I'm not sure. I mean, kind of based on what you were saying, it's an issue of sensitivity. There's like more examination that can be done there. But I guess I'm just not really sure what the most skillful or effective way to do that is. And like the undercurrent behind all of that is like the fact that I'm even asking this question or asking for an advice about this problem to solve is almost reinforcing this feeling that there's something wrong with what's going on right now, which is also uncomfortable. It's like a catch 22, you know?
Well, that's why when I in this format of asking question and I answer question, different kind of question, sometimes it can be confusing because everyone come from a different understanding, different way of listening, different way of asking the question, different sensitivity, different country. I mean, it's everyone. It's every individual experience. It's a whole universe in itself. So every question that arises from it, it, the arts is trying to answer to this very specific universe, hoping that it will be helpful at best. So
Mhm.
it's really an art. I say this because that's why, well, I made this course to bring someone from a specific point and to really go together through all of the layers in a very specific way. Not that because it's helpful. Now, when I do this, I like to start with thought because it's easy to recognize a thought. Yeah, this is a thought, but we don't really understand what is a thought producing in our experience. We don't really are very sensitive to the effect and the powerful effect that a thought have. It's very powerful. We use it's just a thought. Yeah, okay. But it's just a thought has the power of to manifesting the whole universe. And, and not the thought itself, but the belief in the thought. Yeah. So yeah, it's just a thought, but it's very powerful because it arises within us, and we are the power, right? So if you believe in something, it will have a tremendous power, not the belief itself, but through your through hypnotic effect, yeah, kind of. So when you understand, so that's why, okay, it's just a thought, but thought is creating time. Time is thought. That's where we start. That's when you can start to approach this. And thought time make things very very boring because it catch you into a repetitive thought pattern that you believe that you are in a linear time discovering new things, but it's one thought that it's one you are in a close in a closed loop. Yeah, so when you're in time, you there is no discovery of anything new in time. Time is the past, is always the past.
Mm.
Yeah, so to judge a situation, you need to go into memory to evaluate it, to give an evaluation of anything at the level of thoughts. And if you and after you go deeper, but it is the same for perceptions. That's why babies cannot focus on anything because they don't have this this um, memory that is able to differentiate between different colors, shapes, and make objects. They are just looking at an ever-changing rainbow, which is what is here. But our memory is containing, containing, and is reducing our life into a very, 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 very narrow experience that is an individual. And then it's not enough. But it's not the individual that is not enough. It's not the awareness that's not enough. It is the way that we are engaging with experience. So when you woke up in the morning, you say, "Oh, again," like if it's old, but the experience is always fresh. You have never experienced this before, right here, never. Everything is always fresh and new. There is no repetition anywhere in reality. Everything is always fresh and new. I guess that if you, that's why people like traveling because when they travel, they mind they this just this thought kind of detach from the memory and they feel that oh this is beautiful and a new tree, a new flower, new people, but that it's really the same. It's just that they're experiencing some kind of pause of this memory that is containing everything constantly and making things very boring. And you can
Mm.
experience this when you go to work. I'm sure if you work at the same place for years, at some point you will see it's like you teleport. You go out of your home and you're just at the office and you didn't watch anything on the road. Driving or not, or even if you walk or driving is the same. You just like a zombie, which is fine. I'm not saying that you have to pay attention. I'm just saying this is what happened. The mind take hold of things, memory, give name to everything, and then it's boring. you know, you go into nature, you see a flower. Oh, it's a flower. It's pink. Okay, and what's next? What's next? Distraction. Well, a flower, if you look at it, it's the spectrum of light. It's infinite. If you smell a flower, there is a spectrum of smell is infinite. If you touch a flower, the touching experience, the sensing experience is infinite. But memory will make it dull and boring. And memory is time, so it is the sense of time. Again, it is here.
What? So I I guess kind of what about the situation where I see something, I recognize that it's new and hasn't happened before, but I find that it's like the judgment on that thing is still like, oh, this is not good, you know, this is not good enough. Like I recognize I haven't been in this particular situation before, you know, like this, my current experience is new and different and has never happened before, but like I don't feel good about it, you know? And you know, I also take your point that saying just a thought is, you know, it's reductive. Maybe it's not basically kind of what comes up for me is like I agree with you that believing or identifying with a thought can be the difference between just like suffering um versus not suffering, which is, you know, when I say that I can disengage from a thought and see a thought as just a thought, um yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is that like I recognize that the thought shouldn't necessarily have power over, you know, anything that's happening or anything in experience, but I acknowledge that it does, right? Like I acknowledge that it does because I'm telling you, like I believe that I'm suffering because I have this feeling that it's not good enough. I'm believing this thought. And so when I recognize it as just a thought, I kind of understand there's a theoretical situation or a conceptual situation where the thought shouldn't have the power to cause me to feel suffering, but it does. I mean, the fact is that it does right now, and I guess there's a part of me that's not really sure what to do about that. But anyhow, I don't know. It's a, not. I'm
Yeah,
just not really
that's
sure what to
why
do with any of it.
you go deeper. But it's
Mm,
important to have the sensitivity to understand what is thought. Because if you go deeper after it get more complex and more hard to explore, and it's not necessary. Because like you say, when you see that that is thought, then you will reach the emotional part. You know, like, okay, I know that this is a story, but I feel anger, I feel sadness, I feel anxiety, I feel loneliness, I feel this, I feel that. So then that's natural state when the layer it's kind of you start to see how thought and what's happening in thought, you start to dive deeper into the emotion. And the emotion is where the dimension of thought overlap with the dimension of sensing, right? It is overlapping, this is emotion. The emotion is not really a thing, it's more a mixture of, of things,
yeah,
right? It's kind of an overlapping of dimension. Uh, I'm going to speak. And then
yeah,
you explore this emotion. And if you go deeper, you will see that the body is neutral. Even pain is neutral. Pain is not emotion. Pain it's a very intense sensation, but there is no emotion about it. And if you go even deeper, you will find this your own being, this awareness that is the sea, right? The sea that is, yeah, there is, there can be a huge wave in the sea, 20, 10, 20, 30 meters, but the sea, it's always still in the bottom. And the apparent agitation is not agitation for the sea. But what you say is it's very important to recognize where you are and to never deny what's happening, because this is madness. This is using all of this process against yourself. Because if you deny what you are feeling, you are denying a part of your experience, and it will just get worse.
yeah.
So when you feel suffering, you have to see three parts: the story, which is thoughts, the emotional part. And when you're in emotion, the very powerful thing is to be able to be with with the sensation part of emotion, which is very hard because this it's very weird because the story caused the issue, right? At the same time, when you have an emotion, the story is the distraction also.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
thinking, it's a defense mechanism to not feel things. But this defense mechanism has become the biggest issue.
Yeah. So when I'm in this situation or when I'm having this kind of experience, like what you're saying resonates with me, where basically the way I conceptualize it to myself is like, well, I'm having these thoughts of how this isn't good enough because there's some emotion going on in the body, and then like when I have these thoughts, it almost cues me where I'm just like, what is this trying to distract me from? You know? And so then I go into the body sensation. That's kind of where that's usually what I'll do anytime it occurs to me. But I guess it's that third step that you're talking about, where going from sensation to feeling presence, which I guess I'm having not really not really able to make that leap yet. I kind of just sit there with the sensations, which is still kind of a relief. It's a feeling of like, oh, what sensations are here? And it's usually I'll say something like, oh, it's a tightness in the stomach, or it's like a fluttering in the chest or something like that. And is that okay? Can I be here with this? And the answer is usually just like, oh, is this all there is? Like, yeah, that's not a huge problem. And so I'll sit there with that sensation for a while.
Mhm.
But the thoughts will keep coming back in, or there will be distractions from other things I need to do. But anyway, I don't know, I just wanted to run that by you, and that was helpful, so I appreciate you. Yeah.
Yeah, the mind hypnotic power, it's mind blowing. It's just unbelievable. The, the hypnotic power of the mind. And I spent a full month on exploring the body, because often we explore the body with the with but holding the belief that there is a container, a physical container within which there is sensations. And that's where you need to explore this also. You need to understand that sensations do not appear within a container, a physical container. Sensation appear within awareness that is non-physical and do not have. I mean, awareness itself is not a container; it's not a thing in itself. Also, so there's nothing contained in anything. There is experiencing, and so there is the possibility to explore your experience and start to see the cracks between the belief of a physical body that is causing the sensation and the exact opposite, which is no, there is sensing and thought, and that this mixture is producing this sense of physicality.
Yeah.
But if you do this when you are emotionally unstable, or you haven't seen clearly the way the way that thought function, it will be way harder. Nothing is impossible, and who knows, I don't like to close any doors, and there is always you know, mm, things happening. Very curious. So who knows? But it's hard to, because it's like, you know, I don't know. It's like trying uh, to draw something when you are free falling from in the sky. You know, like when you're thinking drawing something, it's like, yeah, everything is possible, and you will draw something. But you know, why not finding a good place to draw? And if you are free falling in the sky, well, enjoy the free fall of the sky. That is, if you are really in too much emotion, well, explore emotion. Don't try to dissolve the body if you are in an emotional state, because the people who want to dissolve the body when they're in the emotional state, in fact, they want to avoid the emotion. They say, if my body disappear, I will not feel the body. But the whole point is that there is no body to begin with, so the emotion will go nowhere. It will even get worse because you go even deeper into the sensation.
Mm. So I guess if I'm in a state of, free falling or of strong emotions, um, I guess the way to experience that is just to, I, I don't know, just sit with the sensations as they are, or are you suggesting maybe something different?
So I'm suggesting two things. First one, see clearly that the story is a thought, but the whole situation is an interpretation that is also a thought. It's not that the situation is real and you thought about it or not. No, the situation itself is not, it's a thought, it's an interpretation. I am a person, I have this is happening to me. What will happen tomorrow? My body, this, my wife, my kids, money, work, taxes. I mean, everything here is disaster. So this is the story. But the story you have about it and the about, they are one and the same. They are thoughts. And then you just accept, okay, I'm just mad, wow, it's affecting me. Just recognize there's no judgment, there's no need to deny, just okay, there's this strong emotions. The first is just step a step back from the whole drama of thought. And you feel the emotion and with the best of your ability, be with the sensation itself. So yes, I'm saying this. I'm saying exactly. I'm repeating. I'm just adding the layer of disengaging yourself with thought, with the understanding of what the texture of thought bring in your experience, which is time, identity, and choice and control.
Mm. All right. Well, thank you,
Yeah,
David. I appreciate that. Yeah.
yeah. We all go in the past. I guess no one here in this meeting is suffering because he or she is not flying right in the sky, just flying a bird. No one is suffering about that. But if many people start to fly in the sky, you will say, "Why I'm not flying? I'm just walking like a lizard. What is this life? It's like I'm an ant. My life is boring." Why? Because you start to compare yourself with others. You start to imagine things. You start to, this is the madness. There is no comparison here. This is your experience, and that's all you have. So yeah, it is really this individuality, this thought that is making everything separated and makes things seemingly dull and boring and not enough. But we really have to remember to be kind with ourselves and not to judge, like, oh, I have emotion, also that's bad, I shouldn't have, because this is even worse. It's not necessary. Just like you say, you recognize, okay, I understand that this is happening, this is thought. At the same time, I have this strong emotion. Okay, well, this is it. This is what I have to be with. So you just be gentle with yourself. Do your best. What else we can do, right? That that's one big dilemma I have with this non-duality and the way that it is presented sometimes. Not that what other presenter are saying, but the way they are saying it gives the strong assumption that that they are having a superior experience than you. And
Right.
I understand what they say, but often it's misunderstood. It's taken away to is taken in a way to judge your experience, to judge where you are. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost, I mean, it's kind of helpful for me hearing what you're saying and kind of recognizing there's not really an escape from this experience, Like that's kind of, in a way, I think when I started asking this question, that's kind of what I was looking for. It's like, well, I'm suffering right now and I don't want to suffer. I'm trying to solve this problem. But I mean, I think it's also helpful, just what you said a second ago, being like, well, that's the experience you're having right now. And that's kind of the
yeah,
experience that you need to have. And so I'm just like, okay, well, you're right. This is not something that I can solve or fix or run away from. And it's helpful to hear that.
yeah. It's what I say in the beginning. You want to be happy because you're suffering, and the way out of suffering is inside the suffering. But that's why we don't want to look.
Yeah. Well, I think it's an unpopular message to like most of the world where they're just like, no, I don't want the suffering at all. And I can relate to that.
Exactly. Yeah,
But
yeah, I understand.
yeah,
And that's the same in non-duality and spirituality. There is no one here, so just, who is suffering is a great question, but often it's understand that, so I can avoid to feel to feel uh, not the suffering, but the sensation that's below it. No, you will never avoid that. In fact, but if you dive into it, you will see that you will find only yourself, you know? And it's really at the core of everything, there is light. And there's this beautiful physicist, I forgot his name, but he has a full theory about the universe and things. It's very, and he said that the physical universe is condensed light. And he explained it in different ways, but it doesn't matter. But just the idea is beautiful to see that, so everything, it's the solidity I feel, it's a condensation of the light that the light. Just like the image that you have of the dream can be beautiful. The dream that you have, it's mind that is condensed so small that you start to perceive images and have emotions and things in dreams. But there's only mind. That's the same. Awareness is the light, awareness of the enlightenment, light, and experience is a condensation of it. So at the core of everything, there is light. And physicists just find that. They go inside, they always find new things, always smaller, 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 smaller. Until now, they don't even know what that's because. But yeah, it's funny. Yeah, just being gentle with ourselves. And yeah, this is happening. I have to deal with this. And I have met many teachers and many really great teachers, and they were very beautiful to be around them. But when you are around any kind of teacher in long enough, you will see they have all of the human spectrum just as you, exactly the same. Just in Zoom, you don't see them. But if you are with them, you will see they go to the toilet, they go to the shower, they wash their teeth. There are different things that doesn't work in the body. There is pain, there is impatience, there is the human spectrum. But maybe the difference is the way that they are approaching it is very different, and that's the same for us. We are all the same. We are all together dealing with the same situation and longing for the same unification, all of us. I will try because before I was doing those meetings, I was not really holding time schedule. But now I will try to hold the meeting in a fixed schedule. So I will try to finish at 10, which is 40 minutes about. So if you have question, it's a good moment to ask.
Hi, David.
Hello, Tami.
So if I understand correctly, and thank you, that was beautiful, the discussion with Ray, and thank you both. So if I understood what you're saying, everyone goes through the same experience, whether or not they've awakened to understand things differently or see things differently. They still have the same things. I think you said impatience, pain, all of these things can still arise. It's just that they're seeing it differently or from a different perspective.
Yeah, I mean, if you are having a human experience, you will have the human spectrum. And human spectrum, it's the full emotional uh, um, spectrum, and full emotional sensation and perception. So even if you awaken, you will still have see objects, walls, trees, sky. You will still feel gravity. This sensation that is it's a sensation. There is no gravity, but you have this impression that your body is kind of pulling down. So yeah, you still be able to function.
And seeing it differently, do you mean what you kind of tell us to practice of like going into sensation, like when they have a sensation, they go into it? Or that in general, they see things just differently than we do?
I just realized that I answer, but I don't want it to answer to explain what other people are feeling or experiencing. I don't know what others are experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
So you should ask those people who say that enlightenment or whatever. Ask them if how they live their life, and they will tell you.
Okay, David. So how do you live your life? In other words, like when things arise, do you need to like go into meditation or into a state to like go to the core of the sensation, or does this happen automatically? Or does none of this even relevant because you already observe life like from the side, like from outside of yourself or something, and just watch it all as a dream?
Well, my experience is I feel simply more and more happy every day. and more peaceful and more relaxed. But that doesn't not mean that I don't have challenges or have situations that I'm confronted to. As that a problem is something that is thrown at you. So there are things constantly that are thrown at you, and there is a reaction to it. But the biggest change is that there is less judgment about the way that this entity is succeeding in responding to the challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am aware, I see that David is extremely limited,
Mm-hmm.
and David has no choice in the sense that it will react in the best way that he can constantly, but the best can really be terrible. But from what I'm perceiving, the terrible is my best. So there is less judgment about what's happening to me and the way I'm answering to things. So there is less and less emotion about David's life, and there is something that take over more and more, which is unspeakable, which is, I use awareness, but God, I think it's a better word, but there is so much meaning behind it that I'm not using much. But God is simply everything that is, not like a person, an entity, but just like everything. And so it's true that gently in my day-to-day life, I feel both more and more, but I feel less conflict about it. And the less I feel conflict about the seemingly, individuality, awareness, individuality, being, the less and less the sense of individuality arise.
So it's like still in a process, in other words. Or you're saying that there's both. There's the seeing of the non-duality seeing, but there's also seeing that part of you feels like a human feeling, identification, but there's not so much an expectation that David will be an enlightened person. In other words, you don't expect that you'll suddenly be like sublime in all your abilities and responses and equanimity.
No, the David will never be enlightened, and David does not understand anything that is happening here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between being a sage and being a saint. A saint is someone who incarnates the belief system of a specific strait of society. For example, being vegan and doing yoga. So if I not eat meat and I do great yoga, therefore I'm a saint, right? And I'm never angry. But there are other society where hunting and eating good meat and knowing how to hunt animal and eat them is great. So if you do that great, you become a saint. And there is all of the different kinds. So depending on where you are, being a saint has a different expression as an entity, as an individuality. But that's not my aim. I don't care about that. What is really important is to be a sage and to understand what is happening, to be sensitive to experience. And the individuality is here. But the more I see that the individuality is a thought, and individuality is not a block to perceive what I am. In fact, experience is a shining forth of my own being. And the more I perceive this, the more experience things start to align, and there is things happen in my life that I don't really understand where they come from. And that's just the way it goes. But just to be clear, you say that I'm still in process, like still in process, like with the hope that there is an end to it. I don't know. I never find a moment where I see only light and there is no one. And if there is no one, who will be there to give a testimony of it? You see?
Mm-hmm. So
Bye, Heidi.
seeing, yeah. Mhm. So seeing that you're an individual or feel like one doesn't bother or doesn't hamper the other knowledge.
No. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, it's really the opposite, because you will see, you perceive you, if you perceive your individuality, you perceive it from what you are. So
Mm-hmm.
perceiving this, the ego, right? Perceiving this sense of individuality is being free from it.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like if you're angry, but you are also aware of it, it's like one step removed, like it's a little bit of freedom from being totally consumed.
Yes, this is a great example. There's a very different. It's very different to, I don't know how you say in English, but to be angry, like to being anger, to being anger,
Mm-hmm.
than I'm feeling
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
anger. It's very different. When you feel the anger, you are already perceiving it from a different place. Yeah. The
Yeah.
difference with perceiving anger, like there is a step back from it, so there is still a gap within it. But when you're able to zoom in into the anger and you bring this anger close and close and close, you see anger is not anger, and anger disappear.
So if I would ask you for a practice for this week, would it be something like, um, I mean, there's a lot of it was very in to talk about mindfulness for a long time, and I was like, okay, I'm mindful and I'm just aware that I'm suffering, so this isn't helping. Like I was always very mindful. I was always aware, like I could be in something in the most like turbulence and always still be aware that I'm that and be able to describe it and like say 1 second and go and like talk to like tell someone what I'm going through. Like I could always see it from the outside as well. And I was like, how does this help me? It's just me watching what I'm going through and also feeling like I'm going through it and also watching it from the outside. It's both, but it didn't really help the suffering. And maybe like kind of what Ray was saying or something, like it didn't take away the experience or solve it or remove it or ease it. So I don't know if I would come
Yeah,
back.
because that's why often, that's why in the course I also start with that. That's what I was saying to Ray, with the layer of thought. The layer of thought will give a sense of identity, right? Like you say, I'm seeing anger, I'm seeing that I'm going through this, but you are not going through anything. Anger is coming, is appearing in you. Anger come and go, but you never move. So the being that you are is not changing in essence, no matter what is seem to appear. It's like mindfulness. One dilemma with this word mindfulness, and any word, it's a problem. So I'm not
Mhm.
judging specifically this word. I'm just uh, for the pleasure of speaking. Mindfulness is implying that the mind can be not full, right? So if you say, oh, so I need to become mindful, I need to become mindful, you can maybe hold the belief that the mind can be empty. But if you explore the mind itself, you will see the nature of what it is, and you will see the way that the mind is presenting constantly. So you right now, there is this constant flow of experience. Constant. There is always experience unfolding, 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 unfolding. There is something in us that give more importance to one thing than another. And there is a white wall behind me, but no one cares about it, right? We care about our life, our drama, money, and health, and body, and this and that. But this is in my experience. It is as much present as a thought about David's life, about tomorrow.
I guess we try to, like for me, it's like if I'm in pain or anger, whatever discomfort is present, I might try to focus on the white wall or try to focus on something else, but this screams really loud. So I don't know if I necessarily am able to choose my focus. Like I would like to focus on peace or on something more pleasant, but often I get carried away.
Yeah, but this is the distracting power of thought. We are allowing ourselves to be distracted by thought. Not that thought of power in itself, but we really enjoy them.
And getting
You say, I want to be at peace, but I can't because thoughts are this and that. But by saying this, you are not seeing the role, the nature of what you are, and the role that you play in your own experience. There is nothing outside yourself that is forcing you to not be at peace, is it?
so yeah, I was actually saying that the physical sensations are calling very loudly and don't allow me to focus on peace because they call very loudly.
Yeah, but you see, at the beginning, you were talking about thoughts. And I said, thought are not this power. Now you go, this is why there is those different layers. Now you go a level deeper and you say, but it is, it's not thought is right, but it's sensations. Yeah, okay, this is a whole topic that it's beautiful to explore. But again, if you are not clear about what is thought and you start to explore sensation, it will be harder to be with sensation because you will hold a whole bunch of stories about it. Because thought is putting you putting time constantly in play. So if you feel pain in the stomach, it will tell you, oh, you felt this pain for 10 years, you will feel it until your death, and life is terrible. So it will take a sensation, and it it will steer it will
Stretch.
like stretch, exactly, thank you. It will stretch it into a timeline perception. And then it will be the sensation that is not that bad to be with, it will become a huge issue. But it's not necessary. So when you disengage more and more with thought by seeing what they do, you will start to be able to be more with sensation more easily, because sensation often they are not that difficult to be with if you don't put it in a time perspective. Often it's not that bad.
So if I would focus on one thing this week, what would you recommend that I do? Something with thoughts, something with sensation, something with something? How can I get closer to something that is helpful?
One thing that can be helpful if you are feeling this struggle with thoughts is to focus on sensation, on pleasurable sensation whenever you can.
Mm.
You want to be at peace? Well, focus on that. Feel whenever you feel pleasurable sensation. Well, try to be with them as long as you can, and you will see how hard it is. we we said that we want to be at peace, but whenever the opportunity is present itself, like news, terrible news, oh, what's happening in this country, what's happening there, we a part of us want peace, but if we are really honest with ourselves, we are constantly putting ourselves in terrible situation, almost willingly, more
Why
often
do
than
we
not.
do that?
Because the way that I like to explain it, it's we have kind of a split mind. There's a part of us that is the sense of individuality, that is entertaining this kind of mood of suffering. You need suffering and division and separation to kind of survive. And this is the hypnotic state, right? And the other is aware that there is something wrong and want to go back. It's kind of in the image that I use with the sea and the wave. It's like the wave emerge and the wave believe that it is separated from the sea. So the wave is afraid of going back in the sea because it will lose its identity, right? It will lose its individuality. It will lose who she is as a wave. It's terrible going back to the sea. But in the core of the wave, in the core of any human, there is the awareness that knows that who we are and what, and it's kind of longing to go back into sea. And that's why we live in some kind of seemingly conflict within us, which is a conflict from the perspective from a limited perspective, but it's not a conflict in the absolute sense. Like there's no conflict anywhere. It's kind of an energy pattern that is unfolding, and this energy is trying to be more in more harmony with itself. So the struggle is that we identify with our individuality, with our thoughts, with our ego, with this sense of separation, and then we are afraid to let it go. And that's where you want to be peace, but peace is telling you there is no one there. There is no individuality there. There is no you there. So therefore, this brings fear because we identify with a apparently separate entity, with a person. And you will see this in your life, and everyone is seeing it because most of us, our life is not that difficult. If we're really honest, it's not that hard. There is something else that is attracted to drama, attracted to suffering.
I remembered that you said that, and I noticed it this week.
Yeah.
Even what I'll play on YouTube or whatever it's like I get sucked into. It's like, no way! Oh my gosh! It's like it loves to get caught up in this stuff, and it's like I watch since I'm a kid. I watch so many scary things, or listen. At the time, there was no internet, but like books, scary things, and like getting sucked into this, and yeah, it's like fascinated by it.
Yeah, because you see, if it's easy, if you are afraid of something, that means that you are something, you are a thing that can be threatened. So you are not pure awareness. You are something that is doomed to die. Yeah. And that's why when there is this message of no, everything is fine, you will never die, you are never born, you are perfect, and there is absolutely no problem anywhere. Be at peace. You are the peace that you are seeking, and everything is fine. And I will keep talking, right, and see what happened within you. See what happened. You are perfect. There is nothing to change. You are the perfection itself. There is no you. There is no body. There is no mind. And there is no individuality. There is no earth. There is no physicality. There is only yourself. There is only pure awareness. There is this light, this presence that radiates everywhere and is everything. There is no death. There's no suffering. There's only this pure perfection everywhere and constantly vibrating, modulating within itself, but never changing. Always perfect, always safe, always at peace. And you are that peace. See what happened.
I go into like a kind of trance state. I'm just like a baby.
Yeah, exactly. That's beautiful. Well, this is the direction to go constantly. And you receive, you stay there. You maybe not, who knows? But often what happens is some point you're like, you know, maybe it's too much, you know, I don't deserve it. No, this is my life. Oh, this, I have to take care of that. And just life just goes on, you know. And don't don't fight it, but just
Hmm.
see the mechanism of it, right? You go back, you feel, no, yeah, you this newborn effect is innocence. That's why people are so attracted to innocence, because it's this perfection, right? It's pure, just come here, and it's just all this potential and just this innocence and just this perfection, you know. But it's a symbol of what we are. That's why we are attracted to it, to this newborn, to the babies, to the innocence that they represent. But what you attract is not the baby, it's what we are. And this is, so go back there constantly, go back there constantly.
Yeah, but you're right. The mind arises with all the craziness, like even stronger. It like rested for 30 seconds and now it's like, wow.
Yeah, this is the kickback. You know, this is the struggle of the split mind. And that's why I think a process over a gently and slow process is better in the sense that it get more integrated, or
Hmm.
or disintegrate the mind better in a way.
Hmm.
Then that's what the dilemma. That's what happened when people have, when they speak about peak experience, or they go to a retreat and they have, you know, they leave whatever, and then they go back to their life, and that's where it kick in. And often it's even worse, because
Yeah.
there is this strong defense mechanism that, no, you are someone, I don't want to die. You know, this is part of us that is confused, but that for this part, this message, it's a death threat, you know. So that's where we are kind of dancing in between.
Hmm.
If you can feel this peace, this light, this constant going back or going inside and going even deeper and deeper and deeper, you will see things start to disappear. And the first thing that disappears is the mind, and then perception, and then sensation. So what disappear? Thought disappear, the world disappear, and then the body disappear. And that's exactly what happens every night when you go to sleep. You go to sleep, you go to bed, you think about your life, then when you go horizontal, often it's easier, and your thoughts start to disappear. You close your eyes, the world disappear. You start to stop paying attention to sound, so the world disappear, perception disappear, and then you feel your body, you feel your body, you feel your body, and then the body start to disappear also. And that's what you are. And then there is a dream that appears, which is another experience. Every night when you go to bed, you die. Not, not the person disappear. Your world disappear. Your thought is everything disappear. And every morning everything arises.
Yeah, it's true. I guess I'm half thinking, wow, this is really beautiful and that sounds good. And I'll try. And the other thing is like, you do not know my mind. Like, you, my mind is so crazy. I hope it can work for me. I guess that's my thought. But
No, I know I have the same mind. My mind is as crazy as you. And we all have the same mind. And this mind is the full spectrum of humanity. They go from absolute abomination that happen in war and what people do, to absolute beauty of what people can do also. This is the human spectrum. We all have this mind. The madness that you feel, every being, every human feel it. Because this is the madness of humanity. So I know your mind because I know my mind, and we have the same one. I'm you, you you are not more a victim of your mind than I am a victim of my mind.
It feels like
You
I am. It feels like I'm way crazier than most people, like way stronger. You know what I mean? Like my mind is attacking me like
if
with
you believe
way.
this, I mean, if you
Yeah.
believe this, start to watch the news and watch what people do, and you will start to see that your mind is just like everyone else. It's
Mm,
completely mad. So
mm,
the point is not to heal it, is to understand that what I'm saying, that the way the mind is unfolding, and you will. That's why the more you see what you are, the more the mind will start to relax more and more, and it will at some point it will accept its what it is in a way.
So you're saying the fight is temporary, it can be done.
The fight is temporary.
Mind fighting against it and fighting for its life, it'll subside at some point. In other words, there's hope.
Yeah, yeah. I
Hmm.
mean, the fight is an illusion,
Hmm.
and that's exactly what the mind want to put you in.
Hmm.
You know, it's to make you believe that there is a fight, there is something to fight for, and there is people to fight between, and there's object that they can fight. You know, all of this. This is the illusion of the mind.
Hmm.
So anytime there is a fight, you will see the fight is only within yourself. It's never outside. Never outside.
Hmm.
The war and the conflict, all of this is a reflection of our inner conflict that we live inside. The madness that you feel, everyone feels it. But
Hmm.
some people are more engaged in exposing it outside, and some others are more able to perceive it and to engage it with differently, more harmoniously, I would say. But you know, life, who knows what life will bring us, you know? But your mind is not more crazy than anyone else.
Maybe
And
not
you
more
are not a
crazy, but it
victim of your
feels more
mind. Yeah.
forceful. It feels more forceful. You know what I mean? Not more crazy, but more strong. Like it,
No,
wow,
you
attack.
are, I understand what you
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
but if if you give credit to thoughts, you are disempowering you, in the sense that you are not understanding the well, your nature and the role you play in your experience. Understand that, for example, when you dream, and you dream of a very powerful dragon, right? Very powerful dragon is flying. It says, you know, wow, big big dragon. Oh, it's very powerful. But all of the power of the dragon is of the mind that is dreaming it, right?
Hmm.
So the dragon has no power on the dreamer, no matter what strength it has. It's
Hmm.
exactly the same with awareness right now. The power of your thoughts is not coming from thoughts of the brain, of the mind. It's coming from awareness itself. And you are that awareness.
Hmm.
So if you understand what you are, you will understand where the energy come from, you know, where the source of everything is. And naturally you will start to see that the energy will flow differently. But as long as you give it belief that you are a victim of your thoughts, you will be kind of exactly feeling this struggle. But the struggle is not in thought, the struggle is in your lack of clarity of what you are and what is experience, and what is thought, and the way that all of this is kind of unfolding.
And trying to spend time with more peaceful experiences is one way to start dissolving that.
Yeah, but first, if you recognize this week that there's a part of you who is attracted to to fear, to anxiety, to suffering, it's already huge, because that means that you start to understand where to look at and what you are really dealing with, which is already a very good step.
Mhm.
And as I say, the way to be at peace is to go deeply into it. But you have to go deeply into it with enough resources, enough sensitivity. Otherwise, it can get confusing and messy. And that's why I say the body is great because it can be a great support. Sensing can be a great support for that. So for example, a very, very concrete example, you are in a bus in a foreign country and you feel fear because you don't know where the bus is going or whatever, or in a taxi and suddenly you feel fear, what's happening, where is this taxi going, and you try to feel fear, right? I first recognize that you are safe, sensations are safe right now. Maybe it will be something terrible happening in the future. I don't know. My mind is telling me this, but I'm not sure. What I'm really sure is right now I'm safe. I can feel sensing. It's fine right now. It's fine, and you feel this. It's fine right now. Yeah, but to me, but maybe later. Yeah. But right now it's fine. Right now it's fine. Right now it's fine. And you go back to sensation because sensation will always bring you in the present moment very because the sensing cannot lie. So it will just bring you very fast into right this moment.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thank you. I will try that.
Yeah, try and let me know how it goes. And this is it seems very simple, but it's very powerful because it will always give you a contrast between what is not happening and what is actually happening. And you will see there is a lot of things that you think is happening, it is not happening at all. Like tomorrow is not happening now. So anything that's happening tomorrow that is causing you anxiety, though, doesn't have to cause you anxiety. Why? Because it's not happening.
But we have to prepare. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean you can prepare, but once if you have to if you want to go to holiday to a country, you buy the flight ticket, you set the alarm clock, and then there's nothing to think about. You know, so there's no anxiety to have about the airplane, about whatever will happen there, because you're not there.
yeah.
So you plan whatever you have to plan, and when it's done, there's nothing to think about. Here you are. Feel this is here. Feel this that is here. Feel this that is here. Be with this that is here, which is experience.
Yeah.
And you will see there is a lot of things happening right now, but there are nothing to do about with tomorrow or yesterday. And the way you can confirm it, because thought will always negate this, because it always puts everything in time. So the way you will see it is just check, look around. Okay, there's no tiger now. Yeah, but tomorrow. Yeah, but maybe tomorrow, but right now there is no tiger. So why should I have fear of tiger? If there is a tiger, okay, let's let's be in fear. Why not? But if there's no tiger, why be in fear? And the same with so many things: food, disease, money, work. People pleasing. What will my boss think tomorrow? What will my wife think of me? What will my parents think of me? My mother is not here. My father is not here. So I don't have to think about this. What is here? Perception, sensation, and thought, of course. But that's what we try to defocus a little bit. You will see it's very simple, but it's very powerful.
Yeah, I will try because as you're talking, I'm like, of course, I need to be tense today because if anything does arise, I need to be ready. My body's always wanting to be ready, but I will look into it.
Yeah, but it's not the body, it's the mind that is crazy. Because, like I say, if you have to fight a tiger tomorrow, you need to rest now. Yeah,
Yeah.
you need to rest. And if you, I don't know if you watch fight sport, but I like to watch sometimes. They do things like this, and it's very interesting because they say, in fact, when you fight, your nervous system has to be the more relaxed possible. Even if, of course, it will be very aroused in many different ways, but at some level, it has to be very, very calm and very, very at peace because you have to be aware of what's happening. If your nervous system get too much arousal, you, I mean, if the anxiety is too big, you lose the awareness and the possibility to act intelligently, even in a very stressful fighting situation.
Mm.
So so think so there is so being tense is not helpful,
Okay.
and the body know that. So the tension come from the thought, because the thought is holding an imagination of tomorrow and the body is reacting to this imagination. But the body is always reacting to what is to thought as if it was happening right now, no matter what it is. If you watch a movie about prehistoric dinosaur, um, dinosaur, the old creature, your body will have the impression that it is attacked by this. So the image, thought is, or actual tiger, it's really the same for the body. But the body knows that to be in a position of reactivity, and you have to be available. To be available, you have to have a good rest. You have to be like a cat. Your muscle have to be very, very relaxed, smooth, and completely soft. And this is what gives you the power of reactivity. Well,
Okay.
all of this just to say, it's very specific for you, Tami. It's very
Yeah.
specific to you to tell you, if you want to be prepared, if you are really interested to this, I really advise you think about military people. In the military, there is a lot of people, and they are very, very. People have a wrong image sometimes about people who do war, because they are very, very clever and they know very well how to train the body for anxiety and for things like this. But anyway, that's just a topic that everything your mind is telling you, it's inaccurate.
Mhm. That's very helpful, actually. Thank you. That's very helpful.
Yeah, no, it is, and there is a lot of talking about the breath, which is in Buddhism. But if you watch people who do martial arts or are in wars situation, they talk a lot about breathing, because the way you breathe is the way that you will engage and the way things will unfold.
But David, they have complex PTSD afterwards. As relaxed as they are, a lot of them come back with complex PTSD. So
Yeah. I mean, I, I don't want to open a full talk about
yeah,
war and PTSD and good or bad. I'm just very specific for timing, because timing seems to me that I'm really worried about tomorrow, and believing that being tense now and think about tomorrow will be very helpful. I'm
Yeah.
just to respond to this. I'm telling you, there is people who are living those things like every day. It is their work. You go to work, but they go to work and they take weapon and they try to survive or do whatever, and very dangerous situation, and they train for this. And what they say is very interesting, because they said the opposite. They say you have to be calm, organized, but you don't have to. No. That's the only answer I give. But after, yeah, you are probably right. The PTSD and all of this may be happening. But I hope it is useful. Yeah.
That's very useful. Yeah. Because it's helping my mind think, maybe I'm wrong. So that's helpful.
Yeah. Whatever it's supporting to see that your mind is wrong is beautiful, because your mind is wrong on everything.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. I will try that.
Yeah, try. Okay. Thank you everyone for your presence, and hope to see you next week. Have a good week. Enjoy. Bye bye.